I live in Cleveland, Ohio. I am a working artist and an entrepreneur. I work with reused materials. We call it upcycling, but it's about harnessing the intrinsic values that something left over might have who wants to become something else. My own small business is called Plenty Underfoot, and the work that I do as an entrepreneur was founding Upcycle Parts Shop, which is like a thrift store meets art supply store where we can collect the donations of lots of materials and have them in one place and inspire people from that place. We also run a pop-up boutique called Collective Upcycle, where we bring together the work that lots of people throughout the Cleveland area do, and we activate vacant spaces. Pop-ups are what I mentioned before and what we're doing right now. So we're popping up in a vacant space, and I wanted to talk a little bit more about what that might mean. Some people use the term pop-up for day-long festivals or weekends, which is sort of, popping up. But what we think of as a pop-up is a season in a space, at least 5 weeks, maybe 6. This time we're in a space in the Gordon Square Arts District of Cleveland for 12 weeks, which is double the length we've ever done one. What it is a shop that we make look like any shop. Most people walk in here and have no idea that we're not like a brick and mortar legitimate store. And we're here bringing together the goods of multiple people. There's one checkout. And as artists, this was a model that I created with a couple artist friends where we said, like when you go to a handmade festival, you're paying to be there, you're making this stuff, so you had to spend time there, and you're sitting there, and you're not making stuff when you're sitting there. So you're sort of paying 3 different times. That was my assessment. It's a really big investment for me to be sitting here and selling my stuff because I'm spent in a couple of different ways. So this is an alternative to that in that somebody else is handling the stuff. I don't have to be here as an artist, and things are being sold, and my story is being told through them. So we take a consignment as the administrators of this pop-up. We take a consignment fee of 30%, which is pretty generous compared to retail consignments. So the artist, sells the thing for $100. We get $30 of it. They get $70 of it. We pay them twice throughout whatever the season is, and they agree to promote it. That's a big part of it. And we have a couple of events where we bring people together, and then we ideally are in a neighborhood that has events as well. And this neighborhood is great. We've had just this past weekend we were part of a soup walk. So there's lots of foot traffic already. That's one of the things that makes a good location for a pop-up. And there's other events that we can sort of plug into. And it's enough space where we can bring people's stuff together, and it's not too much space. I've learned that lesson. We've been in a big, I would say big is 3,000 square feet. We've been in a place like that where we had to bring in a lot of furniture and set up a ton of vignettes, which looked beautiful, but wasn't really worth the amount of schlepping. I will say that for a 6-week shop, it's just as much work as setting up a legit brick and mortar. So you kind of, want to think about how much you have to do to make it ready to look like a real shop that people want to spend money in. This time we have worked with a local manufacturer who has wooden tills, and these are boxes that look like beehives or deep shoe boxes kind of things with little tiny holes, and they are done with them. They do samples. They're done with them once they're done with them, but they're really substantial wooden boxes. So we brought those in this time to sort of utilize as our display and make furniture, which is a new choice, but it looks pretty interesting, and those are for sale as well. So that's sort of us harnessing the power of reuse, demonstrating it, activating space with it, and selling them as well. So that's kind of a fun thing. Different pop-ups have different flavors, different themes to them. But we, collaborate with a building owner or a development corporation. This time, Detroit Shorewave Development Corporation said, this space is empty. It's a missing tooth in our walk in the Gordon Square Arts District. You can have it. Do what you do. Bring in all your people from throughout the area, and it's a win for everybody. So we're paying electricity, which is understandable. But other than that, we're not paying rent, which is definitely something I would suggest people sort of argue for, because what we're doing is excellent demonstration of what this space could become, and we know that that's a service that we're providing, as well as them providing us a service of giving us free space. So it's an exchange, and it's always worth thinking about the small things like electricity and security and who's going to shovel the sidewalks when it starts snowing here in Cleveland. Even though we start these discussions months ahead and nobody thinks about snow, we've learned to sort of think about those kind of things because, we're like fake tenants. We get invited to the merchant meetings. I always feel a little bit like a fraud, but it's really fun to be there. And we act as if we're a real place, and we make friends with our neighbors, and we try to do promotions with the local movie theater and restaurants. So that's a little bit of how we do the pop-up model. It's, the more we do it, the more interest people have, and we get invited to be all over the region. Capacity has always been our issue, and we're pretty good at knowing our capacity. So we haven't been able to say yes to all the invitations, but there's definitely a model there worth pursuing for people who are thinking about that. I mean, what I get excited about is the opportunities and resources that exist all around us. So that's my business, that's my work, and that's sort of what this model is in a different way. There's vacant spaces, and if they're in neighborhoods that nobody's going to, there's probably another option. It might not be this one, but if they're in a neighborhood that already has some interest in commerce and foot traffic, then this is a great way to activate and to bring together resources and people and energy and momentum